Welcome once again to the Khyber Pass podcast, where we bring you each week conversation with improvising musicians that have played on our Thursday night series. This episode, we bring you Curt Wenzel. Trumpet, cornet, electronics. He was in combo with his group Visitor, and we're lucky enough that he sat down with me to converse a bit about his origins and beginnings, dating back in time to the late 1960s in St. Paul, Minnesota, of all places, at all times. You'll hear from him. As always, this podcast is made possible by the loving support of the Khyber Pass Cafe on Grand Avenue. Voted #1 Middle Eastern restaurant for 2019. I am your host, Paul Metzger. And so, I present to you what I believe to be our 35th interview with Curt Wenzel. Curt Wenzel, thank you so much for sitting down with me for some podcast time before your performance tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to have you. So, your playing history goes back 50 years, approximately.
Almost 50 years for me.
Mm-hmm.
The drummer in our band, or the main drummer, started playing outside music in 67, 68, and formed a band called Dog Pound. I started playing outside music in a little jam situation with a guy I was in high school with.
Was that in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, in St. Paul. There's a real scene from back in the early 70s of St. Paul improvised music, and it's kind of distinctive from the Minneapolis guys. And
how so? What do you?
Well, there was Dog Pound, which later became Onum. There was Tony Marino and Panorama Milky Way. There was Reykjavik Gold. John Clegg. Do you know John Clegg? Do you remember him at all?
I don't know that name.
Okay, so John Clegg was like, he's a slightly older guy and had a huge jazz collection and really knew the music as a music aficionado.
Okay.
And then became a musician. So there was just all this opportunity to meet people and stuff that were surprisingly conversant with who Ornette Coleman was,
Yeah.
Or you could drive down the street of downtown St. Paul with John Clegg and have Albert Eiler, terrifying the citizenry on the sidewalk as you drove by.
Yeah.
On the speaker. So yeah.
Yeah, I dig.
It was just a scene, It was a scene.
So, what about for performance?
So
That's always the trick, isn't it? Like,
well, when I was young,
mm-hmm.
it was pretty. I was surprised at the opportunities I got.
Okay.
Because I just improvised with my buddy that I was in a rock band with, Bob Ogren, and listened to a hell of a lot of Pharaoh and Train and everybody. But
yeah.
and
so at that time, what was your instrument?
I was playing cornet and clarinet.
Okay.
And that's like Dave Scher, who's one of the Onum guys.
All right.
He was the first guy I ever saw playing bass clarinet.
Oh man.
Okay, and
yeah.
like
that's a big deal when you first see that. At least for me, it was. And I assume for you
I'd been
too.
playing trumpet all through my childhood.
Yeah.
But I heard him play that bass clarinet, and I was like, I gotta get one of those,
yeah.
But I ended up playing B flat stuff. And then, so Bobby and I got gigs. We did a really early gig, like in 71 or something, at Walker Arts Center in a dance performance.
Oh.
And, it was reviewed in the paper, and they said, well, the dance kind of sucked, but the music was really good, so...
No shit.
Yeah, I felt really encouraged, and I thought, this is it.
And the dancers killed themselves after the
no,
review.
The dancers were fine. So I had that opportunity early like that. And
that's crazy, yeah.
At the same time, Kimmel was doing Whole Earth Rainbow Band, and he was working for the Nancy Hauser Dance Company. Mm-hmm. The dancers I had performed with were from the Nancy Hauser Dance Company, and Kimmel just went, "Come on in,
goddamn,
come on in," got me a gig playing for dance rehearsals, at 7:30 in the morning.
That's a great gig, man.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and I thought, this is it, man.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm officially cool
now, Yeah. I would count that.
yeah. But through that, the composer Hiram Titus, who was at Children's Theater at the time, hired me and I think Bob Ogren, and then Milo, and I'd only ever seen Blue Freedom with Milo and Joe and Rick, and to me Milo was like, that's the guy. He's the guy doing it here, And
so that would have been what year? In the early 70s
71,
still? Or 71?
72, maybe.
I mean, he's still the fucking guy.
Yeah, he's Miles.
Yeah.
So, but when I played with Milo, I played trumpet and percussion and clarinet on that gig at Walker, and the composer was just looking for guys that were doing some new thing, and so it didn't hang together all that well, but it started a relationship with Miles, so we started jamming together and stuff. And then when Blue Freedom broke up, he had his group with Tony and Mark Maestrovich, Tony Cox and Mark Maestrovich, and then
was that Charcoal at that time, or was that something else?
I don't remember what he called it. He might have just called it Milo Fine Free Jazz Ensemble.
Yeah.
But when that band dissolved, then Milo started playing with me and Scott Newell and Steve Janitka.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so in 74, I did an album with Milo. It was the second She, however it's pronounced, record.
Was that on Hat Hut?
No, it was Milo's own.
Oh, that was
label.
His own imprint. Yeah.
It was the second album after the first album, which was Blue Freedom.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So anyhow, it just seemed like falling off a log, because really it was falling off a log, because you had so much opportunity to play with so many different people who all were pretty much oriented in the same direction.
And what a difference that makes is having an institution like the Walker Arts Center being open and encouraging what's happening locally, what's exciting musically and through dance.
Yeah, well, I think
the local space.
Think it has to do with the culture at the time, which was so wide open. I mean, that's partially why I've come back to playing, because you know, in the late 60s and early 70s, things were so upsetting at every moment. It totally made sense to blow your face off on a horn, and it's like that now.
Yeah.
And those are opportunities to get in touch with some of the deeper parts of yourself, I think.
God damn, I love that.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I mean, it's heavy, but I love it. You know,
it's a blessing to be able to just like live in the moment. You know, not have to be on a samadhi cushion.
Yeah.
But be expressing yourself.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with samadhi cushions. Don't get me wrong.
I don't even know what that is.
It's
so
like a meditation.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what that is. Well, in a lot of ways, the practice of being a musician, for some people, of which I include myself, is a meditation. There are so many elements of it that are right in line with like a Buddhist meditative practice.
Yeah.
And
well, just being in the present moment, and that's what's so cool about free improvisation, because it really requires that you inhabit that sound space right when it's happening.
Right at the crest of time.
Yeah.
That's how I always picture it, like time moving like a wave. And you need to be right there.
Yeah.
And
it feels good.
Yeah, it's
and
intoxicating.
It's like that for everybody who plays music. Not
amazing.
Just our kind of music.
Right.
It's like that for freaking Taylor Swift even.
I assume.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that's something worth tapping into, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really consider myself a musician, because I've just always played music, but I'm not, I don't play notated music.
Did you ever?
I did, and read music to a limited extent. I mean, I knew how to play trumpet charts, and stuff like that, but
to the point of, just to tap on that, because we get so many different kind of histories through the Khyber here, and
yeah.
So was it a thing like a standard kind of chart where you have the lead and then chord things over it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what
just
you
little
cut
band
your teeth
stuff,
on a little
though.
bit? Yeah.
Yeah, just nothing serious. By the time I was old enough to get serious, the thing I was serious about was free improvisation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah.
And so, that's really what I concentrated on. But I lost faith with free improvisation. I mean,
Tell me about that. You lost faith?
Well, when you're young and in your 20s and things are happening and it's very exciting, and you don't really know yourself. And so I didn't know my vulnerabilities very well at that time. So playing with Milo was a real test of one's confidence and fortitude.
Absolutely.
And so, but also I had this need for approval, and that was, immature and unsatisfying. So when Milo retired, the Milo Fine Free Jazz Ensemble for 5 months or something, and then came back with the Milo Fine Free Jazz Ensemble without me. I was traumatized. I was very embittered by that, and it's only through growing up and getting old and realizing, that was my problem, not Miles' problem. You know? And so I was more at a distance, and I started writing about jazz then, and one of the things that really got to me was Miles came back, and I think his first gig coming back was opening for Anthony Braxton.
God damn.
At the Hole. And Anthony Braxton was like, I was so seriously into Anthony Braxton. I mean, to me, when I heard four alto, it was just like, okay, this is what's happening, and I got to find out about it. So when Miles got the gig with Anthony and I was out of the band, I was so pissed off that I was motivated to get an interview with Anthony, and I started writing for the local giveaway papers.
God damn.
Doing jazz interviews and stuff.
So at that time, that would be what, like Sweet Potato?
Yep.
Or was it before?
I started at the Reader.
Okay.
And then all the cool people who were at the Reader went to Sweet Potato. And I went along.
And so you were doing like live and album review work for them?
I did some album review stuff, and I did some concert reviews, but I really concentrated on interviewing primarily. So I got to interview everybody. I mean, it's, again...
Let me hear some of the ones that you dug.
Sun Ra, I think I interviewed him twice.
God damn.
It was so great because he was like, I think he was at that little hotel across from the Minneapolis Institute of Arts. There's that little kind of
I know
cruddy hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice cruddy though.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing him, and June is bringing him tea and take care of him, and just like, And
you must have been just knocked out, being able to ask questions of people that...
I was scared most of the time. I mean, I had Teddy Wilson start asking me, musical questions and, very simple, basic stuff. And when I couldn't answer, he said, you should write about something you know about.
Oh, he did it like that.
Yeah. I said, well, this is the Twin Cities. The truth is, you're lucky to be talking to me and not somebody from one of the regular papers here.
Yeah.
Because they're squares,
Yeah.
He's like, I pushed another whiskey.
That's a pretty nice way to stand. And...
Well, I was a kid.
That's a cool stance, though, man. I was a kid. I wasn't like that.
Well, he'd been feeding me shots of whiskey too.
Oh, okay.
So I was maybe emboldened. But anyhow,
so that at that time you're maybe less performing, and you got into...
I quit performing. I stopped believing in what I was doing and what Milo was doing and the whole scene. I really got caught up in musicianship and expertise and extreme talent and artistry.
Well, are you at that time given up on playing? Or are you still developing?
I played. I've never stopped playing. I always played, but I didn't play with people anymore.
Right.
And that was because of my own psychology, because I was traumatized by the Milo thing, because I was in love with that band, man.
Yeah.
We were incredible.
Yeah.
There were so many cool people that came through that unit, And Elliot was alive, and Elliot would come to concerts, and it was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was.
Yeah, you dug it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you pulled out, worked on writing,
Yeah,
and
I just
interviewing, and woodshedding your shit all the while.
Well, I wouldn't call it woodshedding.
Yeah.
What I would call it is like folk music sustaining you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I think I know what you
Not
mean.
that much different from playing a banjo or sitting at a piano and singing barrel house blues or something like that.
Okay.
It was for me.
Right.
And I played a variety of instruments and wrote tunes and stuff like that.
Dig.
But didn't want to get
solo
involved.
in your own thing.
Right, because I didn't believe in it anymore. I believed like I'm going to be a writer and that's how I'm going to do. And But enough about me. The band.
All right, man.
The band has kind of a similar story because
now you're talking about the combo you're playing with tonight called Visitor.
Visitor with Tim Kane and Keith Miller. Tim was part of Onum back in the day, and Dog Pound, and they studied with the art ensemble and stuff like that, and they were just cool dudes. And but Tim, created a family life and helped run a restaurant, and that's been his way to pay the bills and live his life. But he always played, but he always played in ensembles. He didn't give up on playing in ensembles, and though he didn't pursue it as a career move, he consistently played and grew and grew and grew. And Keith also, he'd been playing since he was 16 or something. And he was in Reykjavik Gold with Scott Newell and some other folks. I can't remember all the players now. And they were like from Maplewood.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
And but Keith, he became a chemical engineer at 3M and an environmental engineer and stuff, and raised a family, lived a life.
So then how does that turn into Visitor then? Because these are cats you kind of came up with and alongside of, and through the late 60s, early 70s, and you pull out of performance, and and that's kind of all these guys went into their lives similar.
And I don't really know how much playing Keith did in that period of raising a family and being a career dude. I think he paddled around on drums and tuba, but didn't play anymore. He didn't have time to really dedicate himself to it because he was doing sustaining money earning, but when I moved back here from LA, Tim was always saying, "Come on, Curt, come on, let's just play."
There it is, yeah.
And I was like, I don't do that anymore. He's like, "Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do." So he really made it in the realm of possibility.
He wore you down.
He did, and all it took was like one session with him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is right. I'm gonna play with Timmy." And then Keith retired, and Tim's wife ran into Keith's wife at their restaurant, and Tim said, "Should we ask Keith to play? And I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim and I had been playing about a year, and then Keith joined.
And when is this happening? This is
Well, Tim and I started playing together when Trump announced he was running for president. That was a big impetus for me. It wasn't for those guys, but for me it was like, you know, I gotta do something spiritual that is alive and happening in my life, because this is unendurable. I mean, I have a kid with a disability, and first thing Trump is doing is making fun of disabled people and stuff. I was like, I got to do something for my soul to survive this, but also to resist this. But that's me. So that was my impetus. Tim, he's an artist. He's a painter and a player, and he's deeply dedicated to living that kind of life, and has consistently. Keith is a Buddhist and very intelligent person, and his attitude towards playing is very different than mine, because he's more into the mastery and more straight kind of considerations. So we just came together, and we've been doing it, and I like what we do.
Solid, yeah.
You know, I like to listen to it. So.
Well, I'm looking forward for a chance to hear y'all, and I'm real glad you reached out looking for a gig, and that we could find a spot for you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks.
And not too many people go back to that era of St. Paul, you know, and then it's cool to have you back in the performance side of things. For there, as always, there's a limited but passionate audience for free improvisation. Where you have there are very few with a glancing interest in it. People that are into it are kind of all in. I like that about it.
That's true. That's true. But you know, I just find. You know, I have virtually no musical opinions anymore.
Yeah, you do.
I think it's glorious that people play music.
Yeah.
Of any kind. Like if they're just humming. Or beating on their steering wheel. You know.
Well, let me ask you this on that, because I hear you, right? But I tend to think most people have, so there's some musical form or something that they just can't abide. Like, you know what I'm saying? For me, it's klezmer. I'm
not real fond of klezmer.
I can't get to that. Like, if I hear it, I just want to turn it off. That's the only way that it moves me is toward God.
Yeah, but that's like, that's not a judgment of the music. That's a matter of your taste. Like, I mean,
I hear you.
It's like, that music isn't for me.
I respect their right to exist.
Exactly.
But I can't hear that, so I judge it as being something I can't have.
Well, you know, I mean, I was talking to an impresario lately, and he.
What impresario? I'd like to meet one. I love impresarios. All right, go ahead.
We were at dinner, and he was like, and I was saying this thing of like, all music is valuable and important and worthwhile, and you know, I don't have an opinion. He's like, yeah. What about Nickelback? You like Nickelback? And I'm like, I'm not against Nickelback, but I don't recall ever hearing Nickelback. I mean, that's not something I would seek out.
Yeah.
And so then how can I put it down?
Yeah,
I can't put it down. I don't care.
Maybe somebody plays a little bit of it for you. Little touch.
I'll probably reach and turn off, but who knows?
I know what you're saying, though, because it's all beautiful. And even, like you mentioned earlier, like Taylor Swift, within what she's doing, you imagined, that's a meditative experience for her.
Right.
And
Transcendent.
yeah, a transcendent experience, and I don't know what her music is personally, but it doesn't matter.
Right, no.
Because I think, according to, if I'm understanding you, because that's something that's happening, and that's a beautiful thing.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. It's a generosity of human spirit to have that exchange. I mean, yeah, it's all messed up by monetization and business interests and how this stuff has turned out in Western society and so forth, but that's why you play free music.
God damn.
You know.
All right, we're going to end it there, Curt.
Thanks, man.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so, once again, we have attained terminus together. Through the wires and atmospheres, the electrons and waveforms. Thank you for listening. This week we had Curt Wenzel, trumpet and electronics. He came with his combo Visitor, a trio featuring Timothy Kane, drums, woodwinds, Keith Miller, tuba and drums, dating back together some 50 years ago, shaped by the 1960s free jazz, as well as the implications of composers like John Cage, Ornette Coleman, and Captain Beefheart. I've been your host, Paul Metzger, and until next time,